Hi, this is Dorothy Kelty from Raccoon Alley Creations, and I got a request to show a couple of people how to make yo-yos. Now, yo-yos are very simple, and they do have other names. If you put padding inside them, I believe they're called Suffolk Puffs. But anyway, these both of these two yo-yos, let me hold it up a little bit, were made from the same size circle. The difference between the two is that on this one I left the raw edge, and on this one I turned the edge in. So I'm going to show both ways. One of the tricks is that you do not want to make too tiny of a stitch. Okay, so here's, these circles are 3¼ inches around for these. And this one with the edge turned in, which it depends a little bit on how much you turned in, but it's not quite 1.5 inches. And this one without the end turned in is a little over 1.5 inches. So, okay, so I have the circle, and this is the raw edge one first. And one of the secrets is not to make your stitches too awful small. You want to be, these stitches are probably maybe 1/4 inch. So you don't want teeny, teeny, tiny stitches. It doesn't gather well. The little circles are not as pretty. Okay, so we're just going to go around the edge of the circle, and I'm in about 1/4 inch, I think, from the edge. Okay. Now, I was given these circles and some yo-yos from a friend of mine who is quilting. And she was cleaning out some of her quilting things. And, I've shared some of them with other people because I don't use all of them. I am not going to be making a quilt. Okay, I have a knot in here, so I have to figure out where the knot is and get it pulled out. It's back here someplace. It's not there. I should have waxed this thread. Okay, it's right there. It's right. I think it's the purple thread. Okay, this is a variegated thread. You see the different colors in it. And I have it doubled over too much. There we go. You just need a single strand. So I've got the knot in this one. And then this one I just kind of slip up as I need to get the thread shorter. So you can take some wax. Beeswax is great, but regular wax works. Or if you buy Thread Magic or something for your quilting, you can use that. Now, I use yo-yos in my junk journals. They make great edge trims. There's a lot of different uses for them. Okay, this is great. Picked up a raw edge from that, and that becomes a knot instantly. So most of the time when you get a knot like this, part of the reason for this is that my thread is too long. So if you pull on it, you can pull it out if it isn't too tight. Okay, so we're just going to continue around the edge of the circle. Now, some people like a more grungy style, so you might even want to like tea dye your fabric or something. I like to end up with my needle on the top that makes it easier to, let's just, okay, so I'm pulling it through, and now I'm just gonna pull it closed. Okay, so if you wanted to make it a Suffolk puff, you would take a little bit of cotton batting or pillow filling or put inside. Now after I pull it closed, I pulled it closed all the way here. You kind of want these pieces to meet and not overlap. And then you're just going to knot the fabric. So I'm going to put a knot in it. This fabric, because it's a variegated fabric or variegated thread, it's a little coarser than some thread. You might want to use something that's a little bit more tractable. And you can move these, the folds from your gathering around till you get them the way you want them to. Okay, so here I'm going to put my finger there on the fabric, on the thread. That helps hold it together. Okay, and then I'm just going to make a loop here and pull my thread through it to knot it. Okay, and then you can just go across to the other side. You don't need to do this, but and I maybe should have done it before I knotted the thread. Maybe that would have been better for me. But anyway, so there you go. We'll knot it on this side. Now, when you do this with the raw edge showing, if you don't like the looks of that, then all you have to do is take something like a button and put on top of it. So that makes a pretty design when you're using it. You can also, if you're using it for journals, you can glue it together to make it to hold it together so it doesn't fray out of the seams or something. I like the looks of the kind of frayed, so I'm good with that. And you can see that those two, hope you can see, are about the same size. So let me take this. I didn't bring my embroidery supplies in here, which is where my wax is. Now, if you don't want the raw edges, then what you're going to do is you're going to start with your knot on the inside of your thread. Okay, like that. Whoops, let's make this shorter. Okay, and you're going to come out on top. You're going to fold this over, and you can pin it in place if you want, but I generally just fold it over as I go. And again, you don't want your stitches to be too small. I forget who told me that, but I, at the time I learned these, I was making really tiny stitches when I sewed. And I discovered that your stitches can be much, 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 much larger than you think. I'm going to make sure that you don't wrap the thread around like I just did, okay? So now, and did I wrap it around? I did. Okay, let's go back through that. Okay, and now I'm going to continue to turn this over and go around the circle. So again, I'm turning it over about 1/4 of an inch and sewing then about 1/8 of an inch in from the edge, and that's an estimate. Okay, it's just whatever looks good to you. Okay, and you can see that, turning a circle in, I mean, if you're going to be really picky, you could probably trim the edges and stuff, but I don't care if it's gathered. It just gathers up. See the way it gathers up right there a little bit? So, just going to keep on sewing this around. Okay. So I just went over the little fold with my needles, didn't go through it there when it was there. Okay. There are people who make whole quilts out of this king-size bed quilts, and they are beautiful. And I can kind of see you taking it and, you know, maybe every night while you're sitting there watching TV, adding a couple. Okay, here, go back out to this top. Okay, and now I'm going to gather it together. So I'm just going to pull. If you need to, like, take it and spread it out to get the folds out. Now, again, I don't want this sticking up. See how it's, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of sticking up. I want it a little bit looser than that because I want it to lay flat into the center. Okay? So I'm just kind of manipulating it around until I get that done. And then this time I'm going to full sew across to here. And that lets me, well, if you don't knot it, okay, that lets me, that kind of holds it in place as I mess with it and make sure I have it the way I want. Come on. That's where I started, and I actually ended up with my stitch too close together. So now you can see that with the stitches a little bit bigger, it's actually kind of prettier. So now I'm going to make a knot here with my variegated thread. I buy the variegated thread for quilting, for when I do machine quilting on the tops of my quilts. And I'm going to go back over here. This is where I made that too small a stitch at the edge. So I'm going to tie it together a little bit so it looks a little better. Okay. And then knot it off and you are done. Now, even with these where the edge is finished, when the edge is finished, it's not as necessary to like put a button or something on top, but it does look cute. So this is a, it's not a button, but it's like a button. But you could put a button or a bead. This is a part of an earring, okay, over here. Or you could sew a button on or glue it on to cover up the raw spaces if you don't like it. You can also use thread that matches, and then it's gonna, you know, the thread won't show up quite as much, so that can be a good thing to do. And just play with it until you have it the way you want it. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps the people who ask me about it. I generally take my thread before I cut it off and just feed it into the inside so the tail is inside, okay? So there we have it. Yo-yos. Hold that.